Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Thomas. I'm with Sprint, and I was particularly interested in Ted's comments. Thank you. I think what you'll have to see today, what I want to share around how Sprint puts the network back together and how we protect our network will complement a lot of what Ted shared with you. I must not be pressing, is it this? Oh, this one? Okay, great. So a number of speakers have shown slides around the interdependencies of the most important infrastructures that we have in our society today. And communications is much of the backbone for those interdependencies. You can look, is there a, let's see, there we go. So you can look there and you can see that it's almost, you could build, if you will, a hub and spoke in that communications is key to a number of important services around emergency services, our government services, banking. All of these, you can see that communications along with power are two very key important pieces. One of the things that we look at when we see a cellular network today, and we talk about wireless service, it's really only wireless from your handset to the cell tower. Everything else is a wire line. So we really just replaced that last mile. And that is an important component when we talk about what are the things that we need to protect and what's important within a communications network. A switching center, losing a switching center, that is, if you will, a single point of failure. The switching center goes down, it's going to be days, if not weeks, before that traffic gets repaired. There are exceptions to that, but the vast majority of the communications network today, wireless, wireline, has single points of failure within the switching centers. You know, when we talk about resiliency, diversity, it's really looking at the fiber or the copper. It's the physical layer plant that is using the transport. But one of the key vulnerabilities is our switching centers. So Hurricane Sandy rolls in. Just some stats for our company. There's about 18.5 million people in the state of Florida. We have around 5,600 cell towers in the state of Florida. In the 50-mile hot zone radius that Sandy blew through, there are the exact same numbers of people and cell towers. So you can see that when Sandy came through, it was huge in its impact just because of the numbers of people involved. And what happens? The cell phone really becomes a comfort item for us. Everybody, show of hands, who has checked their cell phone in the last hour? Who hasn't and is getting really anxious? But as you can see, it's very much a comfort device for us. We really, really depend on those. We've become addicted to them, if you will. And following a disaster, they're even more important. So we have two different types of problems when we have a disaster. One is we have reduced coverage from large-scale power outages. In the upper right-hand corner, this is high transmission lines that fell. This one tower dropping knocked out a large area for, I believe that was Katrina. Again, I know there was some earlier examples of a power, one single threaded piece of power going down causing the problem. The way we cope with that, there's a couple of different ways. One is we put in permanent generators. That's a permanent generator at one of our facilities. And then we also have portable generators. So there's a fleet of generators that we maintain that we deploy when we have large-scale power outages. One of the problems with portable generators, you have to have an attendant refueling strategy with those. So you have to get a refueler, you have to get contracts, you have to get people to go out and refuel them as the power keeps going, stays off. The ongoing care and attendant for the portable gens is a key piece on disaster recovery. Cell sites also have, they run on direct current, so they have about 4 to 8 hours of battery backup. That's why when the power immediately goes off, cell service continues to work. But as the battery life on those drains, and there isn't a more permanent solution there, whether it's a permanent fixed generator or getting a portable towed out to the location and hooked up, cell towers will drain and service will become a problem. The next, and thank you, Ted, is T1 outages. We didn't talk about that a lot this morning, but local transport is still a very, very big issue with cell sites. We have some ways to cope with that. One is satellite or terrestrial backhaul. These have lots of potential. They're portable. This is a small portable device. We're using this in, I believe, parts of New Jersey and Long Island where we need, where the telco facilities have been completely destroyed, and we need satellite backhaul. And so that's the satellite. That's a terrestrial backhaul. Both of these are alternate solutions to wireline services. And then, of course, damage to the infrastructure. You can see these are very painful for me to look at, only because these are Sprint facilities that have been damaged over the course of the last 5 or 6 years. Trees, I think this is the Joplin tornado that blew through, that was just absolutely heartbreaking, and we did have a number of facilities damaged from that. And the other is we have capacity issues. So we have localized mass calling events where just a single or a few cell sites will get overwhelmed. What you're looking at here is a train derailment outside of Washington, D.C., and the very localized cell sites quickly became overwhelmed. And then area-wide. This was 2007, steam pipes blowing up, exploded in Midtown. Because the initial reaction to that was it was a terrorist attack, not an accident. It created an area-wide capacity issue for us, just because of all the people calling, wanting to know what's going on. And then also what happens is surrounding sites quickly get overwhelmed as well. So when typically when there is a large-scale outage, there will be cell sites, neighboring cell sites, the neighbors that will pick up the capacity. And what happens when you have a wider area is that those surrounding sites get quickly overwhelmed. What you're looking at there is, that's part of downtown New Orleans. And you can see there, that's the river, so you've got the east and the west bank. This is kind of the Superdome area right in here. This is a lot of the French Quarter. And so you can see that a lot of that area was overwhelmed. So the red is indicating that we have a capacity issue going on there, not necessarily a hard down situation, but a capacity problem. some of the things that we do, the perfect time to respond to a disaster is way, way before it starts. So one of the things that we do is we look at a risk evaluation and business impact. And when we start looking at that and seeing what are the economic, what's the likelihood of it happening and what's going to be the economic impact. Then we also have a robust preparedness program that looks at scorecards, drills, and exercises. One of the things that with drills, exercises, and training is that it's really important that our staff know what to do when an emergency happens. They have roles and responsibilities, and they immediately get to those and get on to what their job is. And that they know what it is, and we take the fear and the uncertainty out of that. And a drills, exercises, and training can't emphasize that enough. We also have a robust communication process and program in looking at how we prepare for the event in getting vulnerable areas protected. And then, of course, the last piece of that is the most visible, which is the recovery and restoration, getting the network back online. We do use the incident command structure. We found it very valuable. It allows us to get organized and to have a collective response around all of the issues, whether it's the planning, logistics, the operations piece, and finally the administration piece. Let me say one thing about the administration piece. This is an important component around the incident command structure and around a recovery operation. It has the communication sections in it. It has an important component, which is the billing piece, so that we can keep track of all the costs that are associated with what's going on with all the various fees that you're going to run into. And we also have, just because of the infrastructure being down, we have a guy that has a money bag, just because sometimes it's difficult going into a wide area where you're going to need to spend money. We use cash. Cash will work, particularly when a lot of the infrastructure is down.
Let's go ahead and wrap it up. We can. I think we're just out of time.
We're done?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
We're a little over.